welcome to Crip Tips TV. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name's Debbie Patterson and I'm your host. Now, one of the dubious benefits of COVID-19 has been a repositioning of mental health issues. We've all had to face disruptions in our schedules, and we've had our little pleasures taken away, and our basic human interactions have been thwarted. So we're all having a bit of a hard time maintaining equilibrium. But on the flip side, a lot of the stigma that's usually attached to mental health problems seems to be losing some of its power, which is great. It's no longer seen as a sign of weakness to seek out help with your mental health. In fact, it's kind of seen as a sign of responsible behavior. So we're going to tackle that head on in this episode. Later on in the show, I'm going to share with you my correspondence with a viewer who is living with complex PTSD, who wrote in with a series of tips to help us get through COVID. And then I'll share some online resources that I found to help us out as well. But first, I want to share with you the interview I did with Rosani Christy. Rosani is a comedian whose comedy stands up even if she doesn't. She's a person with MS, like myself, who has MS-inspired mobility funkiness. Here's our conversation. Hi, Rosani.
Hi, Deb.
I'm so glad you could join us today. So I wonder if you would mind telling our viewers a little bit about your experience of disability, like how you came to disability.
I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I turned 17. So it was during the time, during exam times. So I was studying really hard and it was a high stress time. So when I went in to write the exam, I couldn't see anything. Literally walked like a drunkard all the way to the school. Like I had peripheral vision, but I couldn't see anything I focused on. So then I didn't write the exam. I just wrote in really, I don't even know how I wrote the letter, but I wrote, "Miss, I don't know what I'm experiencing, but I can't see." And she was like, "Okay, nice try. Go back to your seat." But she did tell me, "That sounds like MS, but you're too young for that." So yeah, so it took about 1 year like they have to get 2 symptoms, or I think it was 3 at the time, to diagnose me. Mm-hmm. And so eventually I found out I had multiple sclerosis.
Wow.
And I had a pretty much like invisible disease for a long time. So for about 10 years, I looked perfectly fine to the general public. But it was recently in 2018 that I had a really bad relapse.
Okay.
And I was in a rehab hospital, and now I'm here.
So is that when you started using a wheelchair?
Yes.
Wow, we're so similar. I have MS too, and it also started with blindness because it's optic neuritis, right? Where that like pain behind your eye and you lose everything but the peripheral vision. I had the same thing. And then my vision came back, and then my MS progressed for, a number of years. It was invisible, and now I'm using a wheelchair full time as well. So cool. We're like disability sisters. So when did you come to performing?
It was in a wheel trans bus when I don't know, I just kind of hit it off with the driver. Like we were having awesome conversation, and we were both like, we both had a sense of humor. And he was like, "Did you ever go like try Second City? You should go." And I said, "I called them last year and they have stairs." And he said, "No, this year they got elevators." So I was like, whoa, if that's
Good
not a
timing.
So I took a course during the summer, and I thought it was going to be like, okay, I'll take a course. It'll be fun and that's it. But I loved it. I loved it. I just love being on stage. I get a high, like a rush.
So now you do stand-up comedy.
Yes, I do.
Now, have you had to stop during the pandemic?
I've stopped doing live shows, but I do online shows.
Oh, fantastic.
How has your life changed because of COVID?
You know what? I think that the transition has been pretty good because I like things like having appointments over the phone, so I don't even have to leave the house, or everybody's in masks, everybody's being more careful because I'm on immunosuppressive medication. So I feel safer.
When you became a wheelchair user, you probably had to go through a big transition then. Like that was probably a bigger adjustment for you than COVID.
Oh, big time. Most of the challenges were in my head. A lot of, oh my goodness, I couldn't even use the cane, Deb.
Oh,
So
no.
I remember I would furniture walk in the house. I hated using a cane. And then I thought, okay, you know what? Safety should be my first concern. So then I started using a walker. And then I was like, okay, but I'm still on my feet, right? Or every time I went to the gym, they would be like, yeah, never give up, at least you're on your feet, at least you're on your feet. So I had that in my mind, like no matter how the quality of my walking was, I need to stay on my feet. But eventually I couldn't do it anymore, and I had to accept. I had to let go of all these previous ways of thinking that I was just like I've become like a victim to them,
Right.
to my own way of thinking, and I was like, no, I can't. I have to show my daughter that, no matter what, you have to be able to roll with the flow, right?
So do you feel like it was just providing a good example to your daughter that helped you get through?
I did.
Wow.
Actually, comedy helps me get through hard times. Like, I think if you have multiple sclerosis, I think you would agree with me. You have to have some sense of humor.
Yeah.
And even how we deal with certain situations we are put in. I remember when I first got sick, even started using a cane, my husband would get like handshakes and high fives, like, because he's such a stand-up guy, Deb. I used to get angry, but then I'm like, wait a minute, that's excellent content. Like, keep it coming. Or, or
Yeah.
I've been called an inspiration. That's
Oh, God.
awesome, but I'm just trying to like check out at the liquor store.
I've been congratulated for showing up at the grocery store. Winning! Rosani, what's your best MS joke?
So I'm in a wheelchair. My husband's able-bodied. So he pushes me around in public. I push him around in private. I'm in it for the diaper changes. He's in it because he loves free parking. It took me a while to laugh at my symptoms. You can't expect somebody to get sick like 2 months, like, and 2 months later they're like totally comfortable with everything. That's just not how it works. Everybody has their own timeline.
With MS, it sometimes comes and goes, right? And so there's this like slightly cruel thing of being able to sort of hang on to some hope that one day all the symptoms will disappear and you'll be dancing in 4-inch heels again,
Do you know what I mean?
It's so religious, okay? So she took me to church to pray away my MS, okay? And I felt so much pressure, like, oh my God, I better walk out of here or else. So I went up to the front and the pastor was like, let go of your walker. And I was like, no. And he's like, no, let go. If you believe in Christ, let go of the walker. I'm like, I believe in Christ, but gravity scares the shit out of me. And yeah, so I walked out of there with my walker. And my mom wasn't happy. She always has the thing like, maybe if you just believed more, it's almost like You know how I think I'm going to fit into my pre-pregnancy jeans. That's not happening. So I do have shoes or things I just won't throw away, but I'm so lucky my daughter's the same shoe size. So she can rock them. But yes, MS, it's a tricky illness. We do so much grieving, right?
Yeah.
And we're grieving for ourselves over and over and over. It gets so tiring.
So what advice do you have for the non-disabled people who are having trouble with the pandemic? What advice do you have to help them get through it?
I think you need to think of what you do have. It's a lot of can'ts, won'ts, and we have to get out of that way of thinking because that was me. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do anything alone anymore. Actually, I can. But yeah, a lot of can'ts. We have to turn them into, no, I can. And I got that help from cognitive behavioral therapy because I have anxiety as well. Because I have anxiety, I like to do a lot of negative self-talk. So especially when I was walking, today you're gonna fall, today you're gonna trip and embarrass yourself. Like you're good for nothing. People your age are doing so much out there. So what I've had to do is stop and be like, am I gonna fall today? What if I don't fall today? I have began talking to myself as I would talk to a best friend. So if I think I'm good for nothing, like what have I even, I'm 37, what have I done in my life? So if my best friend called me and said, Rosie, I'm 37, what have I done? I'd be like, shut up. Are you stupid? Look how much you've done. And then I list it to her. So now I list that to myself. And I'm not tooting my horn, but all of us have things that we can brag about. And we have to brag about these things to ourselves. And I think that during pandemic, we have to learn to be able to be alone with ourselves and be comfortable. So I've been able to challenge my own thoughts. Like, I can, at the end of the day, sometimes they're like, what did I even do today? You did a lot. You have these are what I have to tell myself. You have a daughter and you're helping her with school. You're emotionally supporting her. So these are the ways I have to talk to myself, Deb. But yeah, you were asking me like what my advice would be is just, you know what? I need like a pandemic bucket list. So you should write down things that you've always wanted to do but never had the chance to, or always like had an excuse not to do. Why don't you do it now? Like organizing my closet or like color coordinating my clothes or something like that,
Yeah.
And for me, it's hard because I have limitations with the use of my hands. Right. So I literally feel like a dictator trying to tell my PSW, oh, do that, put that there, put this here. But I've had to get used to asking for help with MS. You can organize, I learned my mother tongue. Like I learned how to read Tamil, which was something I always wanted to do, but always found an excuse not to. So I have my daughter at home now. She's distance learning. So we kind of learn Tamil together. And that's such a great experience. And there are apps that can help you do anything because I wanted to perfect my French. So there's an app where you can literally talk to people across the world if you want to improve your conversational skills. Some people think it's a dating site, but if you really want to learn French or any language, it's a great way to improve your conversational skills. Anything you put on the back burner, bring it to the front.
There's something you said about asking for help, and I feel like we sometimes need help because we physically can't do things, But I think even people who aren't physically disabled need to ask for help. If you're feeling isolated, if you're getting depressed, if you're frustrated with the length of the time that we've been isolating, you need to ask for help. You need to reach out. And getting comfortable with asking for help is actually a really good skill to have.
Yes. And there are so many resources right now, Deb,
Yeah.
especially because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, mental health is so important and people are realizing. And so now I think you can look for the resources, and there are always people out there like us if you want to make a friend. I mean, there are so many ways that if I wanted, I could go on Facebook right now and write a post in my MS Facebook group and probably find like 10 other people that could relate to me. I noticed that with the pandemic, my priorities have totally changed. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm rocking a mustache and beard anymore. I mean, this is the look now. Deal with it. And
Yeah.
makeup, I haven't touched makeup. Today's the first day that I wore makeup in probably months. I feel like we are getting comfortable in our own skin, and that's something we should be so proud of.
The pandemic is a great opportunity to like try cutting your own hair or
Yeah,
experimenting with, over plucking your eyebrows or whatever, right? Like just
exactly. Like, bring back
try
the
something.
90s. Bring back the 90s. Who needs brows? But
Yeah.
it's allowing me to be with myself. I have to be with myself
Yeah.
and be comfortable and deal with it,
Yeah.
and self-talk and all.
Yeah. We don't spend enough time with ourselves, I think.
We don't. What's so scary?
Are there things that have changed for you during the pandemic that you want to keep going after?
Masks. Keep them on. They are like great for, like, I mean, some people, they just don't take a hint. Like, come on. If the bread stinks, you can't tell them. So thank God there's a mask. I like the mask. I like the cleanliness. Everybody's so clean and washing their hands constantly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not great for the skin, but I mean, it's great for others out there that are immunosuppressant. So I'm loving
Agreed.
that. But one day we're going to look back and we're going to be like, oh my goodness, we had 12 whole months where we could have done this and that and this and that. And no, I just moped around. Like, just stay present, live in the moment, and be happy for what the pandemic is giving us. I've been able to bond with my parents, like, just bond with my daughter, my husband, um, understand myself more,
Yeah.
right? There are so many positive things. And I know it's not easy, but again, it comes with training ourselves and how we talk to ourselves, how we take a situation. We could take a situation and be grumpy about it, or we can somehow find the silver lining, right?
Yeah. I think that trick of the self-talk, of
Yes.
talking to yourself like you're your best friend, is really, really great. I'm going to keep that one in my pocket for the rest of my life.
It'll help you.
Not just for COVID. It's something I can get good at right now, and then I can hang on to for the rest of my life because that's a really good one.
Mhm.
Cool. Thanks so much, Rosani. I
Thank you
really
so
enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you for having me and listening to me for this long.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Thanks so
Okay.
much. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
While I was talking to Rosani, an email came in from one of our viewers. Michael Riel is a military veteran with complex PTSD. He's also a member of the Order of Manitoba. Because of his disability, he's been living in isolation for a long time, and he's gained a lot of wisdom at a very high price. And he's very generously sharing that insight with all of us. One of the first things he wrote in his email was, flip things over psychologically. See the lessons and meaning of COVID. See challenge as a gift. I know it's hard, but if you choose, you will learn so much more about yourself and be more aware. I couldn't agree more. Here's his list of 20 tips. 1. Don't over-medicate yourself, whether it's alcohol or medications. 2. Turn to Mother Nature for remedies and distraction. 3. If you have a family, partner, or close friends, enjoy and appreciate them. 4. Share your survival stories. Be a mentor and get involved. 5. Learn more about yourself on a mind, emotion, spirit, body level. Sit in your emotions. Don't judge them. Be curious. 6. Be thankful for the little things. If you can have a pet of some kind, do it. 7. Do something artistic or some journaling. Write poetry, build something, play games. 8. Do meditation. I do tapping and I'm learning cognitive behavior therapy. 9. Pamper yourself and do some stretching or yoga poses. 10. Tend to plants or a garden if you can. 11. Volunteer. There is always someone worse off than we are. 12. Enjoy intimacy if it's safe and you trust the person. 13. Take ion baths as well as regular baths. Connect with cedar or pine trees and fern plants. Have a mini waterfall or a Zen garden. 14. Keep a safe list of family, friends, and providers. 15. Make use of community resources. Find out what works and what doesn't. 16. Eat healthy. Take vitamins. Use various teas for relaxation. Work out and vent safely if you have to. This is very important. 17. Find a spiritual path if you resonate toward that. Seek the services of spiritual guides, elders. 18. Take naps. Don't make electronics your life. 19. Have a sense of humor. Watch funny movies. 20. Hug as often as you can and breathe deeply. Laugh often. Now, after talking to Rosani and emailing back and forth with Michael, it occurred to me that they were both talking about cognitive behavior therapy. So I thought I should check in online to see if I could find some resources for everybody. And lo and behold, I went to the Government of Manitoba website to the COVID page, and there is free online counseling available, and this is the very method of counseling they're offering. So I encourage you to go check it out because it's free, and we Manitobans like free things, and it won't be up there forever, so get on it. I even downloaded the app to my phone because why not? Cognitive behavior therapy, it sounds amazing. So that's our show for today. Please join us next week when we'll be visiting with Jim Dirksen, one of Winnipeg's leading disability rights activists. And remember, if you have any Crip tips for us, you could email us at criptipstv@gmail.com. And we're also eager to answer your questions. Stay safe. Bye-bye.